Try this fucking one more time. Ah, here we go. We're live now.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Big Gospel of Murphy's Law.
Fuck you, Ayrton.
You know, we are all professionals here.
We are.
This is a professional performance.
Right. This is, I mean, we know what we're doing, folks.
I'm just reading off the script you sent me earlier.
I mean, I'm hearing the high quality microphone work, and I'm on a gaming headset right now.
Yeah, we're all using the gym method. Actually, Ayrton, who calls in from a tin can, is the only one that uses a proper goddamn microphone. Son of a bitch!
We're right now. We're right now demonstrating the high quality that DC Comics uses in producing every comic that it has right now.
Exactly.
Son of a bitch.
You see, this wasn't Discord just having a really bad day. This is actually all on purpose.
Correct, yes. Yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. I've done this at least 4 times before. Maybe one of them was sober.
So that's 25% of the time that didn't meet expectations?
Maybe one of them was sober.
But you're gonna try to double down on sobriety?
Hold on, let me take a shot. I'll get back with you on that.
I mean, after this Ethan Ralph stuff.
Nope, we're not touching that.
That's all I'm saying.
Look. It's like The Ring, okay? Once you watch it, you have to make other people watch it.
No, you don't. The comic show, goddammit. Until somebody makes a graphic novel, we're not talking about that. That never happened.
See, why would you say that? You're just giving people ideas.
What? That we should bug Ethan to let him make a comic book of his life story?
Hold on, I gotta ban Larry from the Discord.
But the problem with that is we'd have to, get permission to use the title Maker's Mark in the comic book.
We'll just call it Daker's Dark or something like that.
Have you ever hated the fact that you're basically the IBS watcher?
I mean, I don't.
Because I have. I'm like the watcher of the IBS universe for the last 2.5 years.
I watch clip shows of it because I go on streams for multiple hours. I can't watch multiple hours of streams anymore.
I still have a real job, so I can't watch them, but I can listen to them.
So, we're talking about the quote-unquote death of DC Comics today. And,
well, we haven't officially even started the show yet.
Wait, I thought you said we were starting.
We're live, but we're still in the soft intro.
Yeah, we're live. We haven't started the actual show yet.
Oh.
We're just panting over the cold open.
We'll play the warm open then, so we can get to the show.
In a minute, we have actually in about 24 seconds, but I have a method to my madness.
Okay. Okay.
There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the Infinity Gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics. where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
Oh, well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, the Church of Failure, and with me as always is trusty co-host Ayrton McCartney. How you doing this week, buddy?
Oh, it's been fun.
Oh yeah?
Smoking cigars and trying to get people to read fucking emails that I sent them 2 weeks ago. Like, oh, you emailed me about that? Yes, I did.
Don't you hate it when they only read one sentence in the email and not any of the other
Oh
sentences
my god.
that answer their questions?
Yes, that happens to me all the time.
If
It
you
drives me crazy.
if you weren't already aware, joining us in the virtual studio today is Larry Bernard, aka Karasot. Basically I don't know, what would you call
A regular guest?
Yeah, a correspondent, a halfway co-host of the show at this point. But he broached the subject with me earlier this week of discussing DC Comics, and I kind of did a little digging and investigating, and then I just put all of the coins that my local gas station wants me to sell them into a Church Was Right jar, because as we get further into the show, you will see that a lot of the predictions I made last year while on Drunken Tirades about the downfall of the mainstream comic industry and what implications would come in the future are coming true. Who would have fucking thunk it? Anyway. Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Dive us in.
Yeah, Larry, you brought this topic to the forefront. So, what are your opening thoughts on the subject? What's going on? What do the people need to know if they don't already know?
My
And
my
do you
opening
think it's
thoughts are
possible-
the status quo discourse isn't going deep enough.
Now, what do you mean by that?
It's not looking big picture enough at what's actually going on.
Well, I disagree to a certain extent, but go ahead and explain why you think that and what you think the big picture is.
The
and
big
do you think
picture,
the hex on the moon is affecting DC Comics.
Goddamn
Maybe.
baby witches.
So I think the direction that the big two are going to go, because they're properties of multi-billion-dollar corporations, assuming the massive debt that AT&T, Time Warner, and Disney are under doesn't kill them first. I think the direction that they're going to go towards is something called transmedia management. There's not going to be a publisher of DC Comics. There is going to be an entity called DC Comics. They're still going to sell
Well,
comic books
hold on,
because comic books
real quick. Before you get too deep into that, we haven't really explained what's going on yet.
Oh, DC Comics, a large hunk of their management cadre got fired. They cut a bunch of marginal comic books.
A lot of the editorial staff was also laid off, including the editor responsible for the Bob's Burgers version of Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Oh, good.
So one good
But the
thing's
Bob's
come out of
Burgers
this.
version of Wonder Woman but that was more about corporate synergy, though. Because
Yeah, I
Mr.
know,
Keith is
I
a
know.
subsidiary of...
They're looking to shop out Crunchyroll and Rooster Teeth as well, though, and either roll them into HBO Plus or HBO Max, whatever the fuck they call it, and either sell them or roll them into the one streaming service as they're doing with DC Online. But anyway, DC is basically going through the meat grinder right now.
Mhm.
And that's the predicate of
And-
all of this. And Larry seems to think that there's a bigger picture in play here, and I seem to think that it's pretty straightforward. That things are changed.
Well, the things are going to change. Both of us agree things are going to absolutely change. My view on how it's going to change is it's going to be radically different, but it could be positive. It's not going to be the same kind of comics we all love, though. So there's not going to be publishers and editors of DC Comics because you really don't need them. What there's going to be is there's going to be a guy. And this guy's job is you manage Batman across all media platforms. So there's going to be a transmedia manager who's going to be the Batman guy, who's going to be like the Kevin Feige of all things Batman.
Why am I
Toys,
reminded?
video.
The Batman Z.
Why am I reminded of those College Humor skits where you have like the wayward celebrity, and they have their brand manager or whatever who just keeps calling and telling them not to do stupid shit.
Basically, yes, that's the future. So there's going to be the Batman guy who's going to manage the video games, the TV, the cartoons, the movies, the comic books, the merch, the whole shebang soup to nuts that is Batman. There's going to be a Superman guy who's going to do the same thing, Wonder Woman, etc. If
Hopefully
there's
not
going to
Brian
be
Michael
something
Bendis.
involving a... Well, I mean, he's not qualified for that.
Hopefully not Tom King.
He's also not qualified for that.
Oh,
Neither of most of the people that have been doing it
They-
for the last 10 years. We'll get to that.
Exactly. It's going to be like somebody like a Kevin Feige who has that sort of knowledge base. Also, anything theme park related. There's going to be a Batman the ride in a theme park. There's the Batman guy is going to be responsible for that, and all of the different Batman things are going to go towards the single goal and direction of improving and growing the Batman brand. And that's going to be the future.
Do you think this is going to lead to a lot of honor suicides from like Batman brand managers? Like they just get fired and commit seppuku to comics?
No,
I
because
hope so.
hopefully, because they're not going to hire the same people who've been running Batman into the ground. You know, the Tom
Yeah, but do
Kings
you
of the
remember-
world have already got their exit strategy.
Well, I've been incorporating a little bit of professional wrestling more into the show, and I don't know how you feel about professional wrestling, Larry, but there used to be a small company, and it was run by Time Warner, and it was
Mhm.
Warner
Well, it
Networks.
wasn't really run by. It wasn't really run by Time Warner. They just basically let it run itself and write the checks and
Right,
lost a shit ton of money.
and they came in and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna reboot everything and clean it up," and it was dead within a year. And I honestly see this.
Well, no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at the end. So Vince Bischoff and a couple other people were trying to get some money together, and Warner was kind of interested, but they were going to have to put some money and some risk out versus Vince McMahon saying, "I'll give you whatever change I have in my sofa, and you only lose the money you already have on the big contracts." So putting we only lose the money we're already going to lose versus going to lose more money, they went with Vince McMahon's sofa cushion money.
That's a lot of sofa cushion money, though. Anyway, no, they tried to shake it up about
Right.
a year or so prior. They,
I mean,
they
I have some
restructured.
pocket lint.
They restructured all the belts and the titles and everything, and about halfway through
Well, that was
they
because they let an absolute maniac named Vince Russo run everything.
well, he and Eric Bischoff came back as some kind of kayfabe team. But that we're getting into the
Right,
weeds
but-
here. But I'm just saying that's what I see
Yeah.
happening to DC Comics in the future. Is I honestly feel like Rebirth was a Hail Mary. But go ahead and get your point out. I'm sorry to keep interrupting.
No.
It's my
So-
show, but I apologize.
So the future for what they're going to publish is there's going to be the things that always sell are going to publish, but there's not going
Batman,
to be like
Superman, Wonder
a-
Woman, Justice League.
right, but there's not going to be like a dozen different Batman titles. There's just going to be one. If there's like a really hot comic book writer who wants to do like a little side project deal like Dark Knight's Metal, they'll probably let that work on a limited run basis, or they might let them do a crowdfunding to sell the product, similar to what Lady Death does.
Right.
And there'll be the young adult stuff where like there'll be the gay Aquaman Aqualad story, and I'm not saying gay is a pejorative term. I'm saying gay is a literal term because they decided to take the black Aqualad and said, "Hey, let's make him gay and in New Mexico for no reason." Or what I explained to one of my lefty normie friends who thought this was absolutely insane is Gotham High, but instead of being about the Batman characters, it's about being crazy rich Asians and high school drama. And she said, that sounds absolutely insane. Yes, it does. Those are going to be the things you're going to sell. And like a marginal DC Comics character, like what's like a D tier DC Comics character do you
Will
charge?
Magnus and the Metal Men.
The Metal Men. So like what they may do is they may go to an indie comic guy and say, listen, you pay us X number of dollars and 5% on your back end profits. We'll let you do a Metal Men comic book series, and anything you create during your run, if we use it later, we agree to give you a fee of $Z.
$Z? That's a lot of dollars. Sorry.
Right. I'm just throwing.
That's $26.
Not necessarily, but the point is, like, they're saying, listen, the Metal Men idea might be good, but we're not willing to take the risk. But we are willing to take your money to let you take the risk to see if there's an audience for it.
Now, Ayrton, back me up here. Probably a year and a half ago, a year ago, 8 months ago, 6 months ago, 4 months ago, 2 months ago, last month, last week, and 3 hours ago, I made the argument.
Okay, yes, I will back you up. Those were all times that it happened.
I made some big blanket statement saying that we're going to see creators being given the opportunity once they earn their stripes to work with these major licenses, because there's not going to be any mainstream publishing anymore.
There's still
we've definitely brought
for
that
Superman
up numerous times.
There's still going to be mainstream publishing for Superman.
I don't think so. I don't think it'll be under DC publication. I don't think it'll be under DC publishing.
No, it will.
I don't think it will.
It absolutely will. Here's why it will.
I'm not talking about tomorrow. Hold on. I'm not talking about tomorrow. But 5-10 years down the line, it absolutely will not. Warner and AT&T have no interest in publishing legacy media. Now, there will be publications under the digital copyright if they continue to release digital books, but they won't be printing in-house anymore. There won't be a big DC in the corner without a little IDW or a little Dark Horse or a little Oni Press in the corner too.
Well, no, those guys will all be gone by the time.
You get what I'm saying, though. Like that's the point that I'm making. It'll be another publisher that picks up the actual publication of the printed legacy media. They're trying to get out of that.
So here's the thing. It costs less money to print a Superman comic book, and it leads to a bigger sale in subsidiary merchandise than advertising the subsidiary merchandise.
Yeah.
And the Superman comic book, yes.
But it's
and
not.
The Superman comic book.
Go ahead and finish your point. Yep,
they at least turn a profit on producing it right now.
Right now, yes.
Right now.
Well,
now,
I think right
now,
I think right now actually needs to be relegated to about February of this year, because right now is just kind of shambles. But yes, the last time the world was halfway normal, they did turn a profit on printing a physical book, just for the fact that it was selling to the comic book shop and not to the direct market.
I mean, do any of us know how long it's actually been since February? It could be.
It's been 50 years.
I can't tell anymore.
March itself was 20 years long.
But in anything resembling a normal ecosystem, and we're going to get back to normal eventually, goddammit, it's cheaper than advertising, and they can turn a profit off of it.
I don't think it's as effective, though. And here's why. Because a Superman comic book, just okay. This what's the find the capital city. Sorry for this wonderful. All right, so if I look
Jamie,
at the
pull that shit.
population, yeah, if I look at the population of Little Rock, and
Mhm.
I get roughly 200,000 people as of 2018, right?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so I, on a generous scale, I'll say that Little Rock, Arkansas maybe has 3 comic shops in it that are still functional and sell
Mhm.
comic books.
Mhm.
And that's one big family reunion.
So
Look, that's as many teeth as most people in Little Rock, Arkansas have.
that's as many, yeah. I mean, but let's be generous and say there are 3 comic book shops in Little Rock, Arkansas. On
Okay.
average, that means that maybe 20 people out of 200,000 are buying Superman comic books. Okay, that is 1/10,000th of the population.
Mhm.
That's not good advertising. When you can just
But they sell.
make a cartoon
but they
show.
sell-
Hold on. When you can just make a cartoon show that syndicates on either morning television for children or a streaming service that children have access to, and you can do one season of that cartoon show cheaper than you can print and distribute 1 year's worth of Superman comic books.
No, you can't. You can't do a season of a cartoon show for cheaper than 1 year of a comic book
When
run.
you factor in the profits of that TV show, yes, you can.
Nope. You can't do it for cheaper.
Don't think
TV
so?
shows cost way more than that.
They cost
shows
way
cost
more,
way
but
more
they
than
also make way more.
Not for dollar invested. So for every $1 invested in the comic book, there's like a 10. For every $1 invested in the show, there's like a 5.
I don't know. I think it would be because you also have the option to license the show out later. You've got merchandise that come from the show. You've just got profit margins all over the place, and the show itself is more successful as an advertisement as opposed to
What
20
if we just
people.
sell Marvel and DC? What if
And-
we just sell Marvel and DC to like the manga publishers?
Well, that's
They've-
a whole other
They've already kind of
bottle
done
of
that,
corporate politics. But here's the thing
Did you say a whole other bottle of cornflakes?
of corporate politics.
Oh, corporate politics, same thing.
But here's the issue also. You can produce a graphic novel / trade paperback worth of comic book stories for less money than a spec script for a movie. And
Sure.
for less money than a spec script for a TV series season. So it's cheaper to have the comic book writers do the storytelling and then hire a writer to do the cleanup when you produce into a TV show, a cartoon show, or a movie than it is to actually have it being done fresh at the movie, TV, or cartoon show script writing level.
I just think you're very optimistic on the idea that DC has any.
I'm not being optimistic.
Hold on.
I'm saying
hold on.
it's cheaper.
Let me goddamn finish the thought.
Okay.
You're being optimistic in the idea that AT&T
I want to finish
or
the thought.
shut up, Ayrton. You know what? Just cut. When we make this a podcast, when we eventually buy a podcast thing and we set it up, I'm just going to cut all of your interjections out of the podcast. It's going to be me talking to nobody. God damn it. But anyway, I think Larry is a little optimistic in the sense that AT&T and Warner Media have any interest whatsoever in maintaining a publishing branch for Legacy Media. The two people that are currently in charge after their big cuts and everything, I believe that they're more interested in, like you said off air, in like young adult graphic novels and digital publishing. And I think that's going to be where
Right.
DC goes in the future. I just don't see them
Right, but that's an
publishing
exterior
legacy
license
media.
deal. That's an
Look.
exterior licensing deal. Basically, somebody pays them for the right to make a gay Aqualad story,
Right.
and they get a percentage of the profits. There's very low cost going in. Versus making a comic book, you're paying less than you would for hiring somebody to write a spec script for an entire TV season, and somebody will pay you for something that's not good enough to be a full TV season script. So you're not only paying less in the front end, somebody's paying you for less on the back, on the mid end, and then you have somebody clean it up on the back end, probably with the profit you make on selling the comic book.
Right. No, I don't disagree. I think the idea of trying to use a comic book and saying that that's an effective means of advertising, like it would be easier and you would be more effective in spending the money you do to publish a floppy right now to just buy Facebook ads and put the logo on a Facebook ad with no words, and you would get more interaction and more
Here's the
engagement
thing.
than you would selling a
There's
physical floppy.
there's all sorts of research in communications and marketing on how most advertising is ineffective.
Right. I mean,
Comic books at least have engagement in an advertising sense, especially considering you buy them in the place where you buy the merch.
I don't know that I agree with that because a lot of comic shops don't carry like all that merch. A lot of the merch comes from big
Most
box
comic
stores.
shops do.
Well, some. I mean, if you're talking pop figures or you're talking like maybe action figures, occasionally there's a t-shirt rack. In my experience, you don't find a lot of t-shirt sales at comic shops. They're in the business of quick turnarounds, high
my
profit
local
margin.
shop has like one small. Yeah, my local shop has like one small T-shirt rack. I think they have some like fighters or some shit.
Yeah, mine makes their money off trading
like 7
cards.
and that's it.
They don't
Well, I
they
mean,
don't do clothes. They don't even do back issues anymore because it's a profit thing to sit on them.
My guy sells T-shirts, belts, purses, backpacks, fanny packs.
I don't
and
think that's the
socks.
norm, though, is what I'm getting across.
fanny packs?
I've been to
Yeah,
I've been to a lot of comic shops all over the country, and that doesn't seem to me like the norm. Like it's a niche store of like cape shit. It's what you would call a cape shit store as opposed to just a comic
Yeah.
shop.
they
And those
also
do
have like
exist,
the cards.
but
Yeah,
I don't-
they also have the cards and the role playing stuff too.
right. And I don't think you can argue the idea that most of that merch is actually going to make sales at the Walmarts, at the Targets, at the
Mhm.
what other
But it's selling
Amazon
an audience.
I don't think it is because even like if you shop at a comic store, you probably also shop at a Walmart or a Target.
Right. But
I think that audience is pretty overlapping. You read comics, you eat food.
If you go into the comic shop, though, you're part of the local nerd scene in your area.
If you go into the comic shop, you're more likely to spend $5 more on the same T-shirt you would get for $8-9 at Walmart for a better quality shirt that supports your local shop as opposed to buying it at Walmart. But most Green Lantern or Batman shirts are sold at Walmart. We can agree on that.
Yeah. But, like, if you want to get a shirt for,
Now, if you want that badass comic panel hoodie that has like old school Marvel like comic panels printed directly on it, you're gonna have to find that at a specialty shop or online.
Right. Now, the big thing that DC is making a lot of money on, other than the young adult garbage books, is reprints on classic DC books.
Right. Yeah. I did see
because
that.
those are at a good price point.
Those $2 books, right?
Those are at a good price point. And remember how DC sold all their books at that price point when they were doing the rebirth, and like everybody came back in and started buying DC comics again, and then they jacked them up $3.
Well, I actually want to take a minute and discuss Rebirth as, in and of itself as a catalyst for these recent decisions, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
When Rebirth launched, at first
The
I thought it
master of
was
segues.
a little, strange that we were getting a reboot so quickly after the New 52 reboot, especially when they had success.
Well, the new
with,
52 failed.
well, they had a lot of success in the stuff that mattered, though. Batman and Superman were solid, and they could have tweaked other titles to make it work, and they didn't spend as long on it as they did the original 52, which was kind of boggling. But looking back with 2020 hindsight, I see that a lot of it was basically a Hail Mary pass, it seems. Rebirth was just, chucking the football as hard as they could downfield and praying that somebody was going to be there to catch it, and unfortunately they weren't.
Well, 6 months later, Dan Didio basically undid all of Rebirth, so that's not even a fair assessment.
Well, I'm not saying that it's not a fair assessment, but the first 6 months were a solid Hail Mary. It was trying
could have been
to rebirth. It was trying to rebirth and relaunch and rise from the ashes a failed idea that was New 52, and it was trying to reinvigorate the excitement of people buying comics. And when it didn't work, then Dan DiDio kind of scrambled and panicked and raised prices.
That's not what happened.
And
that's not what happened.
What happened then?
Jeff Johns got caught in the corporate politics of DC and the Warner, and once he got involved in that, Dan Didio was able to reassert his authority over everything, and then he started moving everything back to New 52 because he didn't want Rebirth in the first place.
Do you think that was because they didn't want Rebirth in the first place, or that after 6 months Rebirth wasn't selling the way they wanted it?
No, Dan Didio wanted to do New 52. He felt New 52 would have been fine if they just let it play out.
I don't disagree. I mean, The Court of Owls was probably the most engaging Batman story that we've had in fucking forever. Definitely better than that Tom King shit run that he did.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's because Tom King isn't a strong writer.
They hedged their bets on that. I mean, but it just...
Well, that's because Dan Didio likes what Tom King does as a writer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And his...
You think he's gonna like taking his grandma's fucking diaries and turning them into a comic book?
Absolutely. What they'll do is they'll slap 2, female DC characters on and turn it into a young adult novel.
Well, and to me, that's kind of a problem. Dillard draws his who cares comic books or who cares about comic books? Those are for babies. I mean,
you're literally making one, you fuck.
Yeah, for babies. By the way, you guys are going to have to excuse me for a minute while I go change my diaper.
Maybe you would have had that problem if you had less alcoholism.
No, I still would. Cocaine gives you the shits, too.
The perfect amount of alcoholism.
But, I've been listening to The Biggest Problem in the Universe, and I've just gotten to the era where Dick Masterson started talking about shitting his pants all the time. And as a 30-something...
all the time?
I mean, apparently it happens to about 1 in 10 people when you turn 30-something, is you start shitting your pants more often. I never understood that.
What?
Yeah.
I
mean, there's a good chance that and are close with someone that shits their pants regularly. I work with a guy. He can't eat any kind of sour cream at a restaurant or else he's going to shit himself.
I mean, if I'm going to get Arby's, because I love Arby's. I have to get it and take it home because Arby's will make me shit myself.
See, you're the one. You're the one in tenor.
But that's it's
we're
just Arby's.
keeping things super real here.
It's just Arby's though. Like anything else is fine.
Anyway, back to DC Comics. Speaking of shitting yourself,
Beef and cheddars. DC Comics and Tom King.
how about that segue? No, Dan DiDio stepped down because of all of the bad decisions he makes. So pretty much, like all of the bad decisions he made, basically led to him stepping down as DC, right?
So, and co-publisher,
right? So I mean, even though he's still somewhat involved with the company, he is not like at all in charge of anything.
He's a consultant with a corporate non-compete clause.
Yeah.
And Jim Lee is the caretaker, while DC Comics is being slowly put under the bathwater.
Treat caretaker as scapegoat.
Yeah.
Because let's talk about the interview that he did. Like Jim Lee.
That wasn't a very good interview.
No, and tell the people why. Tell the people why it was a bad interview, please.
Well, you fired a whole bunch of your employees. You want people to think things are fine. And he was like, eh? You know, I hope AT&T wants comics to have a future.
That's
not what you want to do. That's not what you do at all.
That instills so much confidence.
Jim Lee basically came out to an interview with the Hollywood Reporter and shrugged.
I mean, who knows? He could have comic books staying around.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think they're getting out of the business of floppies, and that's what I've said for a long time. As much as I hate to see the death of the floppy in my lifetime, I see it coming. Like, you'll get to read your 24-page stories or your 32-page stories in a digital.
Where you're coming from. Nobody reads digital. Digital books don't sell.
Yes, I don't read digital.
Comic books don't sell.
I don't read digital comics pretty much every day.
No.
Comixology is
sell.
not a profitable business at all. No, Amazon just kind of
it's not that profitable chip. Actually.
They lose money on
it's not
fucking
profitable.
Comixology.
Like yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because they have e-readers, and the only way that their e-reader business stays afloat is if you keep feeding people content. So if you lose money on content, but you still keep people on their Amazon content readers, then Amazon works it out in the end. They sell the hardware where they make more profit.
Okay.
And the ebooks don't sell. Physical books sell, and books on tape sell.
Well, I mean, ebooks get pirated, which should count for something.
Right, but they don't sell. They sold a little bit when the e-readers first came out, and they've been flatlining and declining ever since.
Like, I honestly think that the idea of the ebook exists to sell
sucks.
Well, I think the idea of the ebook and the digital comic exists to sell the physical, like, trade and physical paperback or hardback edition when it comes out.
But
because you pirated the book and actually liked it.
Let me go to the manga world as an example.
Okay, all right.
You know why the ebooks from manga sell?
Why's that? Because of accessibility?
You're right. You're riding on a train. You're riding on a bus. You got a long commute that way, and it gives you something to do. We don't have the need for digital format books as a form of consumption for most people in this country, and for most people in most countries. So that's why they don't sell for shit. That's why it's consistently been 3%, 4%, 5% of DC Comics' total sales, and Marvel's been similar numbers. And it's not really grown.
So what you're saying is Marvel and Amazon, all the ebook sellers, make a deal with plane and bus companies to work in the price of like a free download in with the ticket sale, something to read on.
Well,
the
no.
plane.
You need people to be going on buses more and going on trains more to make it a really hot consumable item. We just don't have the people to consume that market that everybody wants.
I used to ride buses a lot. I mean, I don't know why that's important,
Yeah.
but I used to love a Greyhound bus trip. Like, that used to be shit to me. You'd always meet the most
I mean,
interesting.
I like
and
trains.
of course, you like trains.
I mean, I used to live in Chicago, and that's the easiest way to get back up to Michigan to visit. So I would take the train, every couple months to come back to Michigan to see my family and friends and stuff. It's nice. You sit there, you chill with a book. They have
So,
Wi-Fi on the fucking things now. It's
what do you
great.
think? What do you think the future of DC Comics is in a nutshell? There.
The future is it's the ideal laboratory for cartoons and TV and movies, which will go primarily on their streaming service. The stuff that are guaranteed hits will go to actual movie theaters. They'll come up with things that if they're not good enough for TV or cartoons or something like that, they might make, like, here's the Joker from Steampunk Korea. Cool ideas like that will come out. They'll hire underpriced foreign talent to do the art, and they'll only produce comics for things that are guaranteed sellers and have been guaranteed sellers for 50, 60 years. The real threat to their business is going to be what they do when Superman and Batman become public domain characters.
Oh, it's going to be fucking brilliant.
Well,
What do you mean?
well, Superman and Batman will never become fully public domain characters. Some of the stories will become public domain.
No, the issue is the trademark. You can, when the stories become public domain, tell a Superman story. But your Superman has to be significantly distinct enough from the Superman that's being produced by DC Comics.
And it can't have the name Superman.
No, it can, but you can't sell it under the name Superman.
Right. I mean, you
Because
could tell that story and give it away and have a Patreon.
No. You can write after it goes public domain. You can write a Superman story. You can call the character Superman, but you can't use Superman as the logo of your character because that's trademarked.
See, and I think that's
So
what's going to keep people from doing it, honestly.
Right. But the point is, once that happens, they're only going to focus on the movies and the TV,
Like
and
the only person
that's
with
why
balls,
they have wonderful characters.
The only person with balls big enough to do that, I think, would be Tommy Mark.
But that's why you're going to have Jonathan Kent at some point in the next 5 to 10 years become the new Superman or Connor, because those characters won't be public domain.
Oh no!
They'll
so
retire
basically,
all
what
the
you're
old
saying,
characters.
basically, what you're saying is instead of having a Mega Man game, you'll have a 20XX game where your main characters are Nina and Ace instead of Mega Man and Proto Man, and
Right.
And
Right.
instead of the name of the book being
And-
Superman, it would be Soups in the USA or some shit like that.
Basically, or DC sells the rights to use the trademark to
Right.
people.
No,
So
I
people-
can see that.
Who wants to see the B movie public domain Superman?
Well, it's like
'Cause
Sherlock
I would
Holmes.
love that.
We do.
It's like Sherlock
That's-
Holmes.
Right.
There's some people
We
people
want
who
to
make
see
a good
that.
Sherlock Holmes, and some
Like you and I
you
are
can have
the
good-
audience for that. Don Chin presents Superman. Oh,
Clark Kent's like a fat little Korean dude, like a bowl cut.
no, they already did that in Rebirth.
So he's basically
Larry's just so pissed off with me. I'm sorry, Larry.
No. That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, so that's going to be the future, and they're also going to use the opportunity of this downsizing in DC Comics to eventually get rid of people like Tom King and Gail Simone.
All right, Ayrton, you wanna take a stab at what you see the future of DC Comics becoming?
I mean, the layoff thing. What is it? 20%?
25% is what's projected.
whatever?
Personally, I think it's going to end up being more like 40 to 50%.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's going the way of they're going to try and liquidate DC Comics and possibly sell it to Disney. That's kind of what I think they might do.
Disney is in worse debt situation than AT&T Time Warner. They don't have the money.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the failing
DC
with Star Wars, like, fucked them over big time.
Well, it's not the failing with Star Wars. So they were in good shape. They had a lot of debt, but they were getting a lot of money coming in, mainly because of their theme parks. Then, for some reason, which YouTube doesn't like us talking about, they had to close down their theme parks for 5 months.
Yeah, something about a virus involving beers.
From China?
Yeah. And so then they couldn't pay any of their banknotes, and then they had to refinance those banknotes at a higher rate of interest. And have you ever had a credit card and you had to use another credit card to pay your credit card? And that's what's going on with Disney right now.
Ah.
Basically.
So, like, Marvel Comics is going to be going down the same pipeline DC Comics is going down right now.
The bloodletting for DC.
Disney, I will buy Lucasfilm. I will buy Lucasfilm for $16.47 right now if you guys need some cash.
The bloodletting for DC actually comes
save more money by doing a similar firing of like 30 to.
Yeah.
They're probably sometime within the month going to announce a round of layoffs at Lucasfilm. And they're also going to announce, no, we're totally doing that Obi-Wan series. We're totally going to do a Darth Revan series. We're going to totally do everything you guys want. So the finance people and the investors will come in with money.
Yeah,
and George Lucas is going to become the super duper special consultant who's going to work with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni in getting the Lucasfilm ship back on track.
Yes. No, so here's and I'll parrot this because
what's going to happen is Joe Quesada is going to go away.
Well, hold on.
You know, Joe Quesada is going to go away. Son Amanat's going to go away.
Can you hear me? Hold on.
Yeah.
Before you get into to talking about Marvel, let's just talk here because I let both of you talk about the future of DC, and I'm just going to repeat this, even though everyone in the audience has probably already heard it 30 times. Here's what I see the future becoming. You're going to have a situation where floppies cease to exist. And that's, I mean, you can argue that point. You can tell me that that's not what's going to happen. That's not where we're going. That's where we're going. There's no money in printing a floppy There's no money in printing a floppy for a local comic shop.
It depends. We don't know how many local comic shops can go under.
Well, maybe you get Batman. Maybe you get Superman. Maybe you get Wonder Woman. But having those three, as well as Teen Titans, Super Sons, anything that actually resembles the current DC line, like, take a look at the titles that they're cutting. Teen Titans, Young Justice, what else? Birds of Prey. All the auxiliary titles are getting the axe right off the top. But you're a Constantine, Hellblazer, whatever it is. All those are getting the axe. Even though John Constantine's a very popular and fairly long-standing character. The problem
and they're negotiating with Keanu Reeves to do another Constantine movie.
I'd rather.
Are they really?
I've said this already. I would rather see David Tennant.
Right, but
yeah,
Keanu Reeves is super white hot right now, and Warner Brothers knows if they have him in another Constantine movie, they'll make money.
Marvel should counteroffer and let him do Doctor Strange and replace Engelbert Flappyback with him. You're welcome. But no, the future,
Hold on.
the future,
Run that one by me again.
Engelbert Flappyback.
Okay.
You see, now when you make a comic book, you have to make it Engelbert Flappyback a major character.
I'm gonna use that as my pen name. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh shit! I just doxed myself. But no, basically you're gonna see Floppy, and this is just my prediction, but you're gonna see Floppies disappear. You might still have Books A Million and Walmart versions for Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. You might still have comic book stores selling back issues, but the 20 to 30 titles a month or more, that's gone. That's no longer a thing.
Well, that
What
that
you're
was
gonna have-
always that was always unsustainable.
Well, that's the way Marvel and DC have been doing it for 20 years. 20, 30 titles a month at least.
Yeah.
Sometimes 20 titles a week. So, but that's gone. That's a thing of the past with DC at least, and soon for Marvel. You're going to see those titles coming out in digital formats. You're going to have a subscription service type deal. Maybe they bundle in their HBO Max with a DC Comics Online service, kind of like Hulu and Spotify do. But digital is going to get the main focus for your individual books, week to week or month to month or whatever. They're still going to print trade collections that'll be, distributed through Scholastic. It'll be distributed to bookstores. It'll be distributed to Walmarts, even to comic shops. But it's like you said, they're going to have more of a focus on these young adult novels. But it's going to be a licensing game more so than a publishing game or anything outside of those big three. Like your Holy Trinity is going to stay safe under the DC umbrella, and they're going to be held very, very close to the vest. But in the grand scheme of things, you're not going to have an ongoing Aquaman book. You might get one Aquaman book a year, and that might be a licensed book that's crowdfunded through Indiegogo and then distributed by DC Comics after it succeeds. But we're entering an era where you're going to have, the power of purchase is going back to the customer as opposed to the distributor. I think the loser in all of this is honestly Diamond Distributions. Because
Diamond was a cancer anyway.
Sure. I have no problem with them being the loser, but I think that we're going back to an era where, if you want your Snowflake and Safe Space comic books, you're going to have to get off your ass and go buy them. Or they're not going to survive. If you
number one, nobody wanted them.
But the thing is,
why?
I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying that it's going to the power of the consumer. The consumer is going to make those decisions rather than woke points or virtue signaling or social outcries. It's not going to be based.
That wasn't why Snowflake and Safe Space existed.
It kind of was.
Snowflake and Safe. No, it wasn't actually.
Social justice was the exact reason they existed. Faulty hiring, and
not from a business standpoint at Marvel. Marvel has a very good PR team in getting things discussed with terrible garbage people on the internet.
Okay.
So they got somebody to do cheap low tier art. They got somebody to do cheap low tier writing, and they came up with something that was perfect for creating internet buzz.
Right.
And because they're able to do stuff like that, they're able to get Ultraman to do a comic, which is going to be coming to comic shops in September through Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates a big buzz for Ultraman, and Ultraman came to Marvel because it's going to allow people to think, well, Is Disney going to produce an Ultraman movie in the States? Is Disney going to try to do an American version of Ultraman for Disney Plus? And it creates brand value for the company back in Japan. That is why garbage like Safe Space and Snowflake got created. Although I did like B Negative. That was the only good thing out of that whole comic book.
We already had that character. It was better when it was Morbius.
No, like you could make like a goth high school vampire kid as a superhero. That could have been interesting
if done right.
My wife
If
watches
done right.
entirely
They
too
would
much
have done
Buffy
it
the
right.
Vampire Slayer for me to on whole cloth.
Yeah, but none of those vampires were really goth kids.
I mean, Spike wanted to be, though. Really, really bad.
Spike was a punk. He wasn't a goth.
Oh,
Although, I
man,
mean,
you
goth
just-
and punk are
you
sort of
just-
related.
Well, I'm just saying, like, one's an evolution of the other, and none of
They're
them
like
are good.
No, they're like second cousins. Goth and punk.
Comic books, ladies and gentlemen.
Comic book.
But no,
But
that's
Marvel's going to be going through a similar deal with DC Comics. Like, remember
Right.
when the New York Jets bought the rights to use the Hulk for promotions?
well, sure.
They made more money off that deal than they made off of the Hulk comic books that year.
Well, and that's
Oh,
what I'm getting
absolutely.
at. Like, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'll go to my deathbed saying it. The future of comic books is licensing out single trade paperback graphic novels to an established writer and an established art team to either crowdfund the book or work like regular authors do with an advance, and they put a book out and it either sells or they never get a license again. But
Oh
it's
no,
not,
church! You're thinking too small. You're thinking too small. What if Bugatti came to Marvel and said, "Listen, we want to have the right to make the Spider-Man Bugatti motorcycle."
No. I'm not
shit
talking
would
about. I'm
sell
talking about
like
comic
hotcakes.
books here. I'm not talking about licensing. I'm saying the future
Right,
of
no, no,
comic books
Bugatti
isn't an
doesn't make
ongoing series.
Motorcycles.
Bugatti makes really, really fast Italian cars. They made
And
that.
motorcycles.
The Diablo was a car. I don't know about a motorcycle. Does Bugatti make motorcycles?
They do.
I don't. They do.
Just a second.
All right, I'm googling. I know they make cigar accessories. They make like lighters and cutters and cigars and shit.
They do make cars. Cars are primary business. They also make motorcycles, but the Spider was one of their big cars. So of course you make the Spider-Man Bugatti.
Yeah, you make it red with like blue accents and spider web printed on it.
They make all sorts of motorcycles. Most of them are kind of like goofy concept looking things that look like something out of Tron.
You know, what's that car that they use in the Italian
Yeah, so
job?
they don't really have,
the Mini Cooper.
like-
Do a Captain
Yeah.
America Mini Cooper.
Yeah.
You know, you do
I mean,
you
really-
do an Iron Man.
I
You do an
would
Iron Man
buy
Charger.
that. I love Mini Coopers.
That's disrespectful. You do a retro 50, what was it, 56 for the first Corvette? You do something in the styling of a retro Corvette, but with Captain America colors.
No, you gotta do a Mini Cooper with Captain America star right on the top, and then you do like a Charger for Iron Man that's overcompensating. You know, you do a Hummer for Hulk. The Black Widow would be a convertible Corvette, not a stock hardtop, but a convertible.
So all of
wouldn't you
Bugatti's
wanna have-
motorcycles are just concepts at the moment. They don't have any actual production motorcycles.
But I mean, wouldn't you be able to make the Black Widow into like a kind of Shelby Mustang looking deal?
No, Hawkeye's a Mustang
No,
because
no,
nobody
it's- yeah,
wants
for
it.
sure.
Hey, Mustang used to be good. Mustang used to be a
No.
good car at one time.
No, it was not. Mustangs have always been shit.
No,
I
you-
drove in a '66 Mustang, and it was one of the worst cars I've ever driven.
Also-
I had a good time in the '67.
Also, everyone that works
I
at
don't know,
my
that
job with
66 was awful.
a fake social security number, they all drive Mustangs and happen to speak Spanish and only Spanish.
Huh.
Until you short them on their paycheck, and then they speak perfect English. Just
But
just
yeah,
an observation I've made over 16 years.
Now, here's an important question for you guys. Young adult books. Who's the primary audience?
Teenage girls.
No.
No, adult women.
No.
People in their 30s to 50s. People
Mostly
who are-
women.
Yes.
Because they're basically comic forms of trashy romance novels.
Basically, the kids who grew up reading Harry Potter.
They're Tumblr
adults read young adult
cat
novels.
30-year-olds. They're Tumblr cat women 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's the primary audience for
the
young
young
adult
adult-
novels. That's why what was the
And young
Modern
adult novel?
civilization was a mistake.
what was the product that got created? DC. It was the Young Animals imprint. It had the taco sticker. Fuck. I thought it was going to be good.
But it wasn't.
The
Like most
Outsiders.
Young Animals.
No, not the Outsiders. What was it? You know what I'm talking about.
Vaguely.
Oh, God damn it. Aaron, Google Young Animals taco cover and just tell me what the title of that.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Larry. Young adult.
But yeah, young adult books are primarily sold to older people. Much like Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, Marvel thinks they're selling it to young kids, but they're actually writing it for 14 and 15-year-olds. But they're actually writing it for like 6, 7, and 8-year-olds who don't want to read it because it's terrible.
That specific Google search has brought up some weird results. So give me a second.
Did you put safe search on?
No.
You probably should have
No.
done that. So basically, the people writing comic books and young adult novels think they're writing for kids, but they're not. And that's why they have gay Aqualad living out in New Mexico.
Doom Patrol.
Because that appeal.
Fucking Doom Patrol.
Yeah. But they made a good TV show out of it. It helped Brendan Fraser restart his career.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser restarting his career on a DC TV show. Real big step up for him.
Well, I mean, his career got
At least
destroyed. His career got
he's
destroyed
working.
because the head of the foreign entertainment press sexually harassed, and nobody wanted to work with him after that.
Look, Terry Crews has been trying to ruin his career like Brendan Fraser did like 5 years now and just couldn't do it.
Well, no. Brendan Fraser didn't talk about it for years after his career was ruined. Terry Crews talked about the guy who did it relatively shortly after it happened.
Oh.
Brendan Fraser hid that stuff. And that's
What a-
part of why it destroyed his career.
Getting back to comic books. The young adult books, yes, they're basically marketed to Tumblr rights. The problem is that all the Tumblrites are already reading manga, so they really don't care about spending.
Most
Twice.
most Tumblrites don't read manga.
Most Tumblrites don't read.
Yeah, they don't read. That's why they go to Tumblr.
Fair.
Yeah, they read like screenshots of a comic and be like, "Oh, must be what this entire character is like all the time. I'm gonna write my stupid fan fiction bullshit around
Yeah.
this."
Manga is for normie tier teenagers and kids. Because manga still uses normie story writing that involves, characters having to struggle and grow and develop and face
You mean
challenges.
like archetypes?
Yeah, I know, right? And also that these characters aren't automatically validated for being different.
What?
So that's why manga sells well, because it actually tells competent stories.
Just have to pull something.
And it tells
out of
competent
the screen real
stories.
quick.
I disavow.
And it tells competent stories about things people relate to. Like, what if your father was a superpowered demon person and you have to fight him? But he's also your father, so you have, like positive familial emotions with him, but you still have to fight him. And you have to come to terms with those two facts.
I mean, you're Thor? I don't know what you're asking me.
what I'm talking about a story that's been done by several different mangas. My personal favorite one is Baki the Grappler, which is a great series about a kid whose father was the strongest man in the world and the greatest fighter, and who banged his mom and had a kid just because he has kids every so often to see if one of them will beat him up in a fight.
Wasn't that
Because
just the
he's
story
bored
of
of being the
Hercule and
strongest.
Dragon Ball Z?
No. This guy's actually that tough.
Oh, okay. Well,
And it's a manga that takes martial arts both super seriously and super goofy at the same time. But within a framework that all of this is a totally serious thing.
So it's ridiculous, and the book knows it's ridiculous, but the characters take it seriously.
Exactly.
well, I mean, what else do you expect? It's comic books. That's the nature of the game. What I'm thinking, though, is that...
And
Go ahead. There, you were saying?
I stopped as soon as you brought in what you were saying.
Oh, no,
Because I was going to say something that was less relevant than what you were thinking.
Well, what I'm getting at is, this future that I envision for DC comics industry, at least the big two publishers. I feel like it's going to lead to the end of the event storyline outside of a self-contained. Like, I feel like most of those events will have to happen through licensing and with an established writer. And it'll be something that is actually cohesive from this point on, as opposed to a big jumbled mess because 15 different writing and artist teams are working together to try and tell a cohesive story, and that never fucking works!
What you're saying that we can't have a 26-issue crossover X-Men story?
I mean, you can, but it'll all be basically head up by the same creative team, and it'll probably take 3
Right,
years
but-
to come out.
Right. I mean, Perch brought up an excellent point that if you look at all the major X-Men crossover events that happened in the days when comics were healthier, there were 9, maybe
Apocalypse.
12 issues.
Age
Yeah,
of
they were
Apocalypse,
much shorter.
Age of Apocalypse was a line right wide relaunch that spanned about 50 issues. The Dark Phoenix saga lasted for over 2 years.
Well, the Dark Phoenix saga, that's a little bit different because that's an entire character arc. I'm talking about like Extinction Agenda or the Morlock Massacre, those kind of events.
Or M-Day, or fucking, again, Age of Apocalypse, which was a line-wide relaunch of all of the X-Men titles.
Age of Apocalypse is an exception to the rule.
It's the
'Cause it
exception
was-
that
we're
makes the
rebooting-
rule. I get you, yeah.
But like most of these old school X-Men events were 9 to 12 issues, something that a person could reasonably buy all of them in a year.
Yeah.
Versus you want all these X-Men crossover events this year, it's going to cost you $150.
Right. And
That's
again,
not a reasonable purchase.
I have constantly talked about how much money that I ended up spending on the like if I was working within the confines of the law at the time, I would not have been able to all of Secret War 2015 because that shit was 252 books.
Did you just use the phrase, if I was working within the confines of the law?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Look. If Church wants to go to a library that may or may not be located in Sweden or Iceland to get its comic books, who are we to judge?
We're not.
Right.
You're nobody to judge. I was obviously there on a valid passport. They took me over
Exactly,
on a church-sized barge. I was the only person traveling at the time. It was fine. Definitely had
The
nothing
future
to
of
do
comic
with the.
books is
I was going to say it definitely had nothing to do with the sale or distribution
Realistic.
of marijuana. So just strike that from your mind.
in a world where, in 5 to 10 years, Donald DeLay could pay enough money for DC Comics to let him do a 5-issue miniseries of Lobo.
I would read the fuck out of that because Lobo
12
would.
years to see that
Can you-
5-issue miniseries come to fruition, but
Can you imagine Lobo's one-man war on pineapple pizza?
have to make that joke. Yeah.
Chewing on overcooked steaks on his
love
space
Donald,
bike.
but we have to make jokes about his books being laid at least.
Oh man, I gotta make this happen. I gotta write an email
But yeah,
after this.
we love Donald, but we have to make these jokes. Yeah, we have to make these jokes though, at least until we actually get our hard copies of Brutus. Like, I actually offered half jokingly to Donald on Twitter, like, listen, can I drive up to a parking lot near you and just pick up my physical copy that way?
You have to blow him first, but sure.
A Meyer parking lot.
Well, no, like, I'm close enough to him. I could drive to a parking lot. We could meet up at a Publix somewhere, and he could just put it in a paper bag on top of my car.
Fantastic.
If that happens, will you please film it?
No, I'm not going to do that because that would be kind of weird.
It would be funny though.
I've heard that he's
It would be
one-upping
funny.
the Ziploc bag by shipping them in grocery store, convenience store level plastic T-shirt bags that just have
Hey,
"thank you" written on them.
The bag that Super Harem came in wasn't that bad. The big issue is that, like, if the U.S. Postal Service had been a little bit more aggressive with mine, it might have damaged the book.
Well, I mean, I got a fucking Gemini mailer that looked like it had been run through a fucking wood chipper when I got my first copy of what was it, Flying Fortress?
But was the book okay?
No, no, it was not. I got a replacement copy on it. Literally, it looked like it had been run through a wood chipper. The spine was like separated from the backing.
I've only had to get 2 replacement copies ever from anything I've crowdfunded, and one of them was from Tim Lim because I had a printing error in my copy of one of the Black Ops books.
I was hoping you had a misprinted Trump Space Force that I could buy off of you.
I don't have a misprinted Trump Space Force, but we can work that out. I can find where my copy is and send it to you. I mean, it's not a very good book.
I actually MAGA loved it.
I loved it.
I mean, it was fine, but I mean, if I had to do over again, I wouldn't have put money in on that book.
It was ridiculous.
But the laser guns went MAGA.
I also bought mine from a comic book shop. I didn't actually back it.
Yeah, now that's another element to this future. Assuming comic book shops make it through the COVID crisis, which
I don't think they
is
will.
the only major caveat I will say to my prediction.
I think comic book
it's
shops
possible.
that sell comic books as an afterthought might make it through, but I don't think that dedicated comic book shops will make it.
Well, we're not even getting into that much detail. Like the physical shops that exist now, if most of them survive COVID, that's an open question still. Because we don't know what the world after COVID is going to look like for businesses that have gotten the loans and everything. But assuming they do, that's the major caveat on all my predictions. But if that they do exist in some form, and we do get into a world with a more robust comic crowdfunding content, that may be a future business line for comic book shops. Looking through Indiegogo, looking through Kickstarter, and saying, I think this book could be a winner. I'm going to buy 20 copies.
Yeah. And, I think that's going to be more of a frequent thing because, like I said, I think that certain teams are going to be given a license and given a pass to crowdfund something like a 6-issue Batman series where you print the trade and send it to your backers, and the money that's left over goes towards printing the 6-issue miniseries and paying off the license. And if it doesn't sell, then no harm, no foul.
Now, here's where I think the ultimate way to do all this is going to be in the future. You need to get like a Patreon subscribe star dealy do. You could actually fund a monthly floppy off of that. And then you crowdfund for the big book after 3 or 4 issues.
Right, and I think this
And
kind
do
of
like a
all goes
trade
towards
dealy that way.
like the idea that even YouTube, like people have been saying it for years, but it's becoming more and more apparent. You know, within the next 5 years, our show won't be able to on YouTube, even with our meager audience. Like, it'll just be a platform that basically is converted to cable 2.0, and there will be other platforms that pop up for creator content, but I don't think that the internet is going to remain a neutral ground. I think that, companies like YouTube are going to move towards having the secondary DC content on it. Like, you'll get shorts and you'll get, like, the old serials that you used to
You
get
mean
at
the
the
shit
beginning.
nobody watches?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I see a future where they bring back the idea of the serials that you used to get at the beginning of movies, like the old Batman Shadow serials. Those will be a YouTube series on DC Channel to advertise for, like, HBO Max, where they have the DC live action shows.
That's more expensive. That's more expensive than selling comic books.
Sure, but that's what Warner Media
But
does.
doesn't reach
and,
more people.
and that's what Warner Media does, as opposed to them not being a periodical publisher.
The DC Comics book channel doing things like that gets less eyeballs than comics in a comic book shop because they're really shitty at running a YouTube channel.
I disagree. I think you're wrong. I think that
I'm saying right now they're very bad at getting people to watch their YouTube channel.
Well, right now, but I'm talking about 5-10 years in the future when YouTube is already known as like cable 2.0, and the people that are stupid enough to pay for shit like YouTube Red are the only ones left, and those are the target demographic. The same people that still watch cape shit movies and don't realize that Marvel pretty much was the peak at Endgame, and that you can't copy that success. You can't do that again.
They peaked at Infinity War.
Well,
Infinity War was the peak.
Yeah,
Endgame was nowhere near as good as Infinity War.
Yeah, but you had to see at least it to the end, right?
Right. No. That's the thing. It was the curtain call.
Yeah. So I don't know. I see a future where comic books still exist, but I think that my prediction that we're gonna get like licensed out trades once a year for Green Lantern, for Aquaman, for Cyborg, for the Justice League, for Lobo, Wolverine, for even for Superman.
Wolverine will still be produced in house because Wolverine's still popular. They haven't ruined Wolverine completely.
Are you shitting me? Do we really want to spend the last 40 minutes of the show having that conversation? Because I don't have to say anything. I'm pretty sure Ayrton can carry that for me.
Look, I'm saying if they just pretend like all the stuff that they've published in the last 2 years involving Wolverine never happened, no one would have cared. And people will start buying Wolverine again.
Last 10 years, maybe.
Well, yeah,
sure.
they retcon the entire universe again.
Well, no, they don't even have to retcon the universe. They just have to don't talk about it.
Motherfucker, they have to retcon Scooby-Doo to erase the shit that Wolverine's done in the last 5 years.
It's just like in Germany, they don't talk about that vacation everybody took from 1933 to 1945.
Well, I mean,
vacation.
I'm just saying the camps were really nice then.
I want to go camping.
If you had a gold star pass, you had all access, right?
Oof.
There's some campgrounds up here. You buy their gold star pass, you get a lot of amenities.
But Marvel and DC will probably still exist in some form.
Hold on.
After the current crisis.
Do you get a pass for the roller coasters?
Yeah, there's one that's near a theme park, and yeah, you can get a pass to go on the roller coaster.
I'm done. I'm sorry. I apologize.
So anyway, Boom might exist, Dynamite
No.
was gonna survive, but they're not gonna survive now because they screwed themselves.
They did. They tried to play both sides of the
IDW's
fence and it
already
didn't
dead.
work.
Yeah,
Of course they'll pull-
IDW's already dead.
Dark Horse
Dark-
will pull through.
Image will pull through because again, they actually have a solid business foundation. That's going to be it for the landscape of comic book companies that we know today.
Well, Image
Boom, Image, Dark Horse.
Image was smart enough to basically set their model up on the idea that if you fail, you fail. We don't fail, you fail.
Right. We sell you the services to sell your comic book, and if it doesn't work, that's not our problem.
That's why the only success has come out of Image for the last 5 years, outside of like maybe consider Saga, but they quit while they were ahead. But Robert Kirkman is the only success story we've had in the last decade. Really.
Saga is on hiatus. They've not.
I would have
finished the book,
believed
they've
you
tried
when
to
you
come
told
back
me.
from hiatus.
I would have believed you if you had told me that like 2 years ago when the last issue came out. But now I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, nobody wants to go back. It's like The Wicked and Divine was a decent series for Image, but again, that's also on hold.
Look, even though it was SJW trash, I actually enjoyed Rat Queens. But they fucked that up too.
You give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves.
Well, I mean, at least 40%, right?
Especially at the camp that I go to with that Gold Star pass.
But,
You know,
Shut up,
you're
Ayrton.
included.
We're done. We're done with
We're-
the Jew jokes.
I said nothing about Jewish people. I was talking about this nice campground.
but there is going to be an Invincible show on Amazon,
Oh, really?
but it is produced by Seth Rogen.
Now wait a minute, Matt! No! Matt, no!
That's
Look,
the only-
we're not talking about his video. We're not talking about his video. Okay?
No, but we're talking about Invincible produced by Seth Rogen, and that's garnered the same response.
Hey, Seth did produce The Boys. Boys season 1 was pretty good.
And season 2 looks like ass.
Well, I mean, yes. Because there really isn't a long-term story that you can make a successful TV show out of The Boys with.
Yes, there is. It's called the 8 volumes their comics had.
Right. That's for comics. You can't tell that. You can't tell the same kind of stories for comics that you can for TV. Not all those stories are TV stories.
Look, I want to see Love Sausage on a fucking big screen, okay? I want to see Love Sausage in fucking 4K. That Russian dong deserved to be fucking displayed.
I want a T-shirt.
I want to see Jimmy Dean do a cross promotion where you get Love Sausage Kielbasa.
But yeah, so that's the whole thing. Actually, did you guys watch Warrior Nun, which was based off of a comic book?
No. No, tell me about it.
No.
It's on Netflix and it's mediocre. It's one of those shows on Netflix that should have been a movie, but instead they decided to make it a 12 or 10 episode TV show. And it was mostly filler, very generic, and not very good or well thought out. Do you remember the Warrior Nun comic book?
No.
It was about a skimpily clad nun with weapons fighting demons.
That's probably why I don't remember it.
I'm
It
already
seemed terrible. Ayrton's already hard, though.
It
Well,
sounds
no,
like
no.
something I would love it.
Right. So instead, it's about a generic white girl with generic white girl amnesia problems with a group of multicultural friends who's caught in a war between a major corporation and the Catholic Church that are also involved as pawns in a major war between heaven and hell. And the white girl happened to go through her white girl problems and realize her white girl problems aren't as severe as the problems of the minorities that are her new friends. is the one who solves everything. She's the most special white girl. I mean, if you're gonna make a Warrior Nun show, you just basically make it Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but Buffy Summers joined the convent, and then realized that she had awesome superpowers for fighting demons.
And looked really good in fishnet thigh highs.
Exactly. That's what you do. That's how you make it a good show. By not making like a deep, multicultural, current year storytelling aesthetic.
By not letting women direct it.
No. You want to have a woman direct it.
I don't think so.
You want to have a woman direct it.
She wouldn't know to put the fishnet thigh highs in. I'm sorry. Like, they just don't understand what men want out of a show like this.
Also, they should be making sandwiches.
Correct. Any time taken away from making sandwiches is just detrimental.
That's true.
The loss of the economy.
And also, did you guys see Old Guard, which was also on Netflix and based off of a comic book?
I actually let my Netflix subscription lapse about 3 months ago.
I don't have TV.
Well, you know, if you go to the public library, you can use their Netflix subscription.
I just
Wait, what?
That's actually a thing.
Can?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I do still have a library card.
I'm bullshitting you. I have no idea. No,
shows.
We
It was a pretty good movie.
We all have a friend with a Netflix subscription that we can borrow, Eric. We also all know where the Pirate Bay is and know to avoid it at all costs because only degenerates go there and pirate things.
And I'm out of rum, so there's a possible way I could do that.
They're an elite team of supernatural mercenaries. Most impossible war zones, but then a biotech company wants to kidnap them and learn the secret of their immortality.
No, No, we're gonna have to talk about this off air. You guys heard of Netflix wanting to put white characters and sex scenes in their live-action Avatar series?
Or, you can go to the public library and we can talk about it on air later.
No, that's not gonna happen. I don't go to the public library. COVID and whatnot, that should pass through. No, that didn't land. Okay. I'll erase that joke.
I didn't know a book could catch COVID.
And then you guys come back on.
Oh, were we gone?
I mean Discord, Discord, the actual Discord server.
No, we haven't left.
No, I know. But it's a thing that happens sometimes.
Okay.
Randomly on Discord voice chats. They'll just randomly get jammed up.
So, can we come to some kind of mutual outtake of I think is Dream Comics? I think we all pretty much agree on what it is.
We agree on what the business model is going to be. We all agree on the business model. It's going to be about licensing things out to crowdfunding and young adult books. The mainstream things that are always selling are going to keep selling.
Printing trade compilations of those things that are released in digital formats.
They're going to release the classic stuff that they still own, that they don't have to pay artists for.
Right. The Death
That'll
of
basically
Robin
be dirt cheap to reprint.
Yeah, The Death of Robin will come out as a $2 series and come out week to week, just like it did back in the day. So you get to read that. You'll get Dark Knight Returns in a $1 format. You'll get fucking The Death of Superman. You'll get Wonder Woman, like Paradise Lost, when she fucking Amazonian shit and becomes Donna Troy for the first time, or Deanna Troy, or what the fuck ever.
That reminds me. Can we do a side by side?
Holy shit!
Death of Superman versus the Death of Stupid Man.
No, but we can say the younger brother of Donald Trump, Robert Trump, just died. Breaking news.
What?
I mean, is it really news?
Yeah,
I mean, it's somebody tangentially famous who died.
the younger brother of the president, I believe, the father of the woman who put out the hit piece on Trump recently, right?
Oh yeah. I mean that's even more tangential, but yeah.
That just happened. Live on air.
Yeah.
Rip
I'm
Bob.
looking forward though to So when do you think they're going to let go of Joe Quesada and Sana Amanat, and they're going to be given their walking papers?
Oh man,
Soon.
I think Disney will hold out a lot longer than DC did. I think they'll wait after the.
Well, they can actually repurpose Sana elsewhere in the Disney empire,
As with
but Joe Quesada's not.
Joe Quesadilla can have a place in the MCU. I mean, he's
No, they already fired him from that.
No, I know, but he can.
They fired him from the MCU.
He can be a consultant or whatever. He's still like the
No. Kevin Feige doesn't want him
Well, Kevin Feige
anywhere around any of the stuff.
Kevin
He's
Feige.
terrible.
I don't think Kevin Feige is going to last much longer after their fucking failed second or fourth wave or whatever the fuck they're calling it. Because the only movie that's going to do well, I think, out of this new batch of movies Marvel will eventually put out when the theaters finally open back up with the crippling fucking attendance. I think they'll put out
Black Widow will do fine.
I don't think so. I think the only movie that will have any semblance of the success of the first wave Marvel stuff is going to be Doctor Strange 2.
Black Widow will do fine, mainly because Scarlett Johansson is a star who attracts people to the theater.
Right.
I don't think that
so
by
Black
the time
Widow
it
will
comes
do
out,
fine.
I don't think it will. I honestly don't see it.
I don't
she's
think it
dead.
will do as good as
She's dead.
I
Like, what's the point? Where's the investment for anybody who's been following the MCU? And your average movie-going audience is not going to go to a fucking movie in the middle of a pandemic.
I would.
Well, first of all, any losses they have on what its projected budget would have been, they're going to get a nice tax write-off on.
Sure.
And they're going to be selling the digital right away to anybody who doesn't want to go out to the theater. So people will be paying $30 a pop to own it at home,
This is
and
true.
$10 a month to
watch it
maintain
for
their
2 days.
ownership.
Well, they'll wait. That's a thing where you live? No, we just pay $20 to watch
No,
it
that's
for
on Disney
48 hours.
Plus.
Really?
No, on Disney Plus, they charge you $30 to own the digital copy, so long as you have a Disney Plus subscription.
Oh. Yeah, no, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Well, usually
So,
when you have
that's
the
the thing.
digital copy, you can actually upload it to your.
Oh God,
Voodoo
no!
account or
They don't
whatever.
allow that anymore.
Really?
They don't allow that anymore. No,
Interesting.
God, no.
Because a lot of
I
our
think
Disney
new me-
movies we actually access. Kids.
Eventually Disney's going to pull all of them off of Vudu.
Really? I don't think that's going to be met well.
It's going to be the future. Disney wants to have exclusive rights to distribute all their own content. They're also have made it legal for them to buy movie theaters. So if Disney wants to just own a movie theater in every major metropolitan area, they can do that now.
Oh, sure, they can absolutely own a movie theater. Nobody's going to go to it.
No, people will go to movies once the coof is over.
And next year they'll be saying, after the pandemic, we have to take these precautions every fucking flu season.
I have more hope than that, but when my theater opens on the 27th, I'm going to be there.
What's coming out on the 27th?
I'd have to go to where my phone is and look at what's coming out on AMC. It doesn't matter to me what's coming out. I'm gonna go to the fucking theater as soon as it's reopened.
Somebody just sent me a
Just see
mix
something,
CD
you
for
know,
my
fun.
birthday.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm tired of watching garbage on Netflix. I'm tired of watching worse
so you wanna
garbage
watch
on Amazon Prime.
So you want to watch garbage in the theater?
Yes, because it's a better experience.
That's fair.
It's a better experience. So yeah, once my theater reopens, you can have me come back on and I can talk about going into the theater.
Okay.
Oh yes, please.
Well, I think
But like if New Mutants is playing, I'm going to be watching the heck out of that just because at this point in time, all this terrible things that's happened to that movie, I think it's going to be interesting to watch just to see what finally came out of all of that.
what's going to happen is when the theaters open back up, they're all going to be in on a massive trip. And every theater, regardless of what it says is playing, is actually going to start screening Groundhog's Day with Bill Murray.
I mean, I'm okay with that. That's a great movie.
And that's going to continue for as long as the goof is going on. And that's going to be the movie theater's protest, I believe. Every movie is Groundhog Day because every day is 2020.
So, do you want to talk about how Robert Pattinson's Batman is going to be all about his trauma of his parents being dead?
No, I want to talk about how they really should have cast David Tennant as
Tom
the
King residuals
Riddler.
on that script focus. The movie's going to be about how Batman's depressed because his parents are dead.
But the Riddler's the main villain. Like, how can that not be fun? Silence. Dead air.
That's why the gun from his parents being dead is in his bat symbol.
You broke up for a minute. Saying.
It's going to be about depressing garbage.
You keep breaking up, Larry. Like I keep getting the last half of everything you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Robert Pattinson's Batman's going to be depressing garbage.
Yes, we got that.
Yeah.
And then the fact that the gun is his bat symbol.
Yeah. So I think Tom King needs to demand they give him residuals on being that depressing with Batman.
I don't know. I think that, it has potential. Like I said, they're using the Riddler for the main villain. I mean, the last Riddler
Hopefully
we saw.
It'll be Johnny Depp as the Riddler.
No, it's gonna
be.
It's gonna be, what the fuck is his name? Something James Dano or some shit. He was in
they
Looper.
should get Johnny Depp to be the Riddler.
Paul Dano.
Yeah,
Paul Dano or whatever.
They should totally get Johnny Depp, and that'll be Warner Brothers' payment for ruining his life by agreeing with his horrible monster of a wife and trying to ruin his career.
Now, if Johnny Depp was going to be anybody in Batman, it should be Victor Zsasz.
Well, unfortunately, they already ruined that by the Harley Quinn movies.
No, those don't have to be canon.
They do, because Warner Brothers not willing to admit they made a mistake.
They really are. They just don't admit it whole cloth. They acknowledge it.
Also, how weird is that Sylvana has so far been the best of this iteration of DC movies with the villain?
Wait a minute. Hold on. The Riddler's name in this movie is Edward Nashton? I'm out.
Yeah, it's garbage.
I'm out. Fuck that noise. His name is Edward Nygma. Enigma. That's the whole fucking point of the character, you cocksuckers. Go back to being 12 Years a Slave, Paul Dano. Fuck you. Go shoot yourself again in Looper.
Oh, speaking of comic book related things, did you guys hear about Project Power, which was a movie that
with
tangentially
Joseph
related
Gordon,
to Superpower?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, right?
Yep, I watched that movie.
Wait, it's out already?
It's out on Netflix.
Fucking shit,
Or-
Netflix.
Or you can go to the public library and use their Netflix subscription.
Yes, I'll go to the Pirate Bay and
How
down. I
does
mean,
one
public
do that?
library and watch it. Yes.
Exactly. So the gist is an evil corporation makes a drug to give people superpowers.
Yes, it's definitely not
But-
named Vite Enterprises, right?
It's not, no.
Okay.
And they experiment on a group of soldiers, and one of those soldiers, who's Jamie Foxx, has a kid, and the kid is born with superpowers.
But this definitely
So they
isn't a
kidnap-
Spider-Man movie, right?
It definitely isn't a Spider-Man movie. So Jamie Foxx comes to New Orleans, where the drug dealers are, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a cop on the New Orleans police force who uses the superpowered drug to.
Yeah, because he's hooked on
evil
narcotics like
crime.
all of our cops. Yes.
Well, no, he's not hooked on the narcotics. It's just that the criminals are using superpowers to do crimes, so he
Right,
needs to be
just
able
like
to use
cocaine.
superpowers to do by the law. Well, I mean, cocaine is a hell of a drug, according to
The
Rick
crim-
James.
The criminals are using cocaine to do crime, so the cops have to do cocaine to catch them.
And they have a subplot about a black girl.
Cocaine space-time vortex.
That's
And
right.
they have a subplot about a black girl who deals the drugs to pay for her mother's medical care for diabetes,
Which is
even
the
though
only-
her mother works for a veteran.
Which is the only reason you can root for not Neil Patrick Harris, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Two gay guys. I'm sorry. I'm just...
Well, no. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. No. The black girl whose mother has the diabetes that's really expensive to take care of is his dealer.
Right. Yeah, that's the only reason he's a sympathetic character, because he's paying money that goes towards a noble cause for Black Lives Matter, even though all that money gets funneled into Act Blue and goes to getting Kamala Harris, a former cop, elected as vice president. Wait, did I get my timelines confused again?
Yeah. But the interesting element about this is it
The
focuses
fifth
on the
one.
idea
The
that
interesting element about this is the
Yeah.
fifth one. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
it focuses on the idea that everybody in real life has a superpower, and that's how they change the world. But this drug is what helps people realize what their superpower is. You know, as an allegory metaphor sort of deal.
So basically, everybody has an X
Okay.
gene, and this drug activates it. I'm pretty sure it was Dr. Mint.
I think it was like Our Man.
No,
Actually.
you're right, Our Man. And he would take
They
a
have
pill,
a
and
similar
for 1
costume
hour,
look.
he would take a pill, and for 1 hour, he would have superpowers. And then there was futuristic, you know, just dystopic rendition of him, who basically a drug addict. I think that was
Mhm.
Kingdom Come, where the original with the Sandman. The original Sandman was basically a crazy person at that, because his dreams became prophecies,
Mm.
and he kept getting the visions from the Spectre, and Spectre finally latched on Sandman's preacher, Norman McKay, and Kingdom Come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Our Man was always one of the more interesting characters, because I can imagine becoming a drug addict if you took a pill and it basically turned you into Superman for an hour.
I mean,
Because-
you'd also OD on that stuff pretty quickly.
Bath salts.
I mean, probably, but I mean, think about people like Mad Child, the guy that used to eat like 32 Percocets a day. And that was just his basic consumption. Like, he'd wake up and eat 4 of them, and then take 2 to maintain until he passed out in the
I mean,
life.
You know,
who was it? Hunter S. Thompson?
Yeah, he woke
Mhm.
up with a bottle of Chivas Regal, basically. Hair of the dog.
Yeah.
But here's how weird the whole comics scene is right now. Like I'm waiting on Brutus. That's my excited I'm gonna get it finally coming out at a crowdfund.
Oh, Downcast is coming to me finally from Sweetcast, comic guy.
Yeah.
Clint, the descendant of the writer of Dracula. Yeah, his two books are coming to me. They're finally shipping.
Let's see. Like, what else
Oh,
do I have
and
to look forward to?
Bigfoot,
That
Bigfoot Bill 2 is coming this month, I believe.
yeah, I did not pick up Bigfoot Bill 2.
As long as
Or
the man
one.
as long as the man keep putting books out, I'm gonna keep buying them. Have a Doug donate.
I mean, Doug at least makes high quality books.
He does, and they're fun, and I can read them to my kids without worrying about like abortion subtext or some stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Bigfoot Bill
So let's
2 is
see.
funny enough to make my 8-year-old laugh at the stupid jokes in it.
So on my first page on Indiegogo, there's only one comic book left that hasn't fulfilled. I bet you guys both know what the title is.
Detective Dead.
It starts with
Cyberfrog.
it starts with an R.
R.
In the second word also starts with an R.
Red Rooster.
Yep.
Ah.
Oh man, I've got like 4 of those from Walmart already.
No, they've only had 3 out at Walmart.
I was making a joke.
And,
I haven't bought any.
Like then I
That's
have
a good-
to go
Your
to Brutus.
It's a good
It's
no.
outstanding.
That's a good no sell. That's a good no sell, Larry. I appreciate it, man. I'm
You're
so
welcome,
happy I
man.
bring you onto the show. Man, I've never not regretted the decision any more than I am right now.
So right now I'm waiting on
Except
Brutus and Red
Except
Rooster.
for not paying me as his co-host.
Right.
I mean, why would he regret that decision?
Oh, he regrets it.
I do.
But Detective Dead is number 3 on
Oh, okay.
my
He's-
late list.
He's seen my butthole at least 7 times, and only 6 of them were consensual. So
Only 4 of them were consensual, asshole. Literal asshole. Anyway, no. Detective Dead. What else?
That Detective Dead comes in 3rd here. I'm just trying to skim through. There is one book that I have that isn't going to deliver because one of the guys is dead, and he was the person who ran the actual campaign. And Indiegogo won't, give me my money back
You didn't charge it back or whatever?
because,
fuckers.
well, no, it was too late for me to charge it back when the guy died.
No, through your credit card or whatever.
Oh no, they would charge me more than the book cost to charge it back.
What?
What?
Yeah,
Chargebacks are free, dog.
no, not with my card.
Oh. Must be an Amex.
Do you just have the worst card in the world?
I charged it on a debit card.
Yeah, I did too. But any chargeback I've ever done, that's off me. It just takes 3 months.
I mean, I suppose I can try to research like doing an old chargeback.
Tell them that, just tell them the circumstances. They give you a form to fill out, and there are places with documentation backer up. And
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And try to get that money back.
yeah, you should. Because, I mean, if it's not going to deliver, I mean, Indiegogo is kind of responsible for that. That's why Doug
Well, no,
launched,
they gave the money.
No, Indiegogo says like you are not purchasing a product; you were backing
Yeah.
the idea of a product.
No,
and they
I
gave
get
the money
that.
to the guy who died. They gave the money to the guy who died. It's out of their hands.
Not your problem. I'm telling you. Check in with your card. But we've got
I will.
We've got 10 minutes left, guys. I'll actually counter with that, and I will say that I am really fond of, a lot of the books that I backed. Obviously, I spent money on them. But how long have we been waiting on Monster MD, Aaron? Like, it feels like we backed that almost.
8 months.
It feels like we backed
I mean,
that pretty
I-
much as soon as we started the show, right?
Let me actually pull
Yeah,
that
just
back up
about.
because I just looked at Monster MD because I think we're almost a year off their estimated delivery date.
Right, because they
Is it-
decided
is
to
it
do
a
a
year?
secondary comic as a launch. Yeah, I mentioned that in a previous episode. And I don't hold
Yeah,
any.
Monster MD was June 2019 when it launched.
Damn.
Yeah. And it was supposed to
Uh,
deliver, and I think they pulled the delivery date from the tier
They did.
pages. But it was supposed to
Yeah, they
deliver
did.
like January of this year. If I'm not mistaken. But and
Hence,
Well, they should have shipped like the main book by itself, and then you got shipped. The second
well,
book.
no, because the thing is like maybe if they were gonna do a perk like that, then they should have shipped the main book first, and the stretch goal should have been a collaboration in the future for a different book you would actually have to pay for. And that might feel shitty or whatever, but you get a discount if you back whatever book, but they did the collaboration and sold it as well.
so on the list of books that haven't delivered yet, we have some more recent candidates like Oddity.
Oddity hasn't shipped yet?
Yeah.
They completed that campaign like what, a year ago?
It was scheduled to deliver in April. I'm imagining
Jesus.
they had some proof-related delays.
Have you looked at your updates on them?
I'm doing that right now.
Has there been an update since the shipping was delayed?
I apologize that it's in July. I apologize it's late. I blame the pandemic. You should too.
It's lightly misting
Fucking
outside.
China.
Yeah. So there's that one. Let's see. Anybody else who stands out on the list here? Nah. I mean, Iron Sights 2 was delayed because of the koofining.
And you didn't get a golden ticket either, did you?
I did not. No, I did not. Starblades got delayed because Ethan Van Sciver keeps
No,
giving him work,
Just got a golden shower.
and
I like Kyle as a
See.
person, but I have no faith in his writing ability, so I'm not at all interested in Starblades.
I mean, I didn't buy it because of any interest in his art ability. Or his writing ability. I bought it because it looked so goddamn pretty.
I don't actually. Honestly, art comes second to me in a book. Like that's just like I will drool over good artwork, but I won't continue a series if the story is shit. And
But
I back Monster MD based on the story. I back.
But the last.
I backed Monster MD based on Heidi alone.
But the last
Basically.
book I've backed on Indiegogo due to financial issues, I kind of curbed a little bit this year. Last book I backed was T-Bird and Throttle #4, the finale collector's edition,
I
which
think
is the
you're
hardback version of everything.
you're not alone on it. I have stepped away from CG as a movie based on internal conflict. I can't fall into a Gamergate 2. I refuse to. I refuse.
I mean, I'm still into buying it, but I just didn't have the money.
But what if we got Trump to tweet out the hashtag Comicsgate?
Well, first off, you sound like you're broadcasting from the side of someone's asshole. Secondly,
I mean, what if I am?
well, And you should have more pressing matters than being on the show and have excused yourself, sir. How dare you? But no, the thing is, like, I backed Xenotype. I think Xenotype was the last book that I backed, and honestly, like, I'm having a few regrets about that. To be fair, Liam is fucking insane. Like, I like the guy. He's fun. I hung out with him on his 24-hour closeout stream, but you know, the guy's talking about fucking super hackers bricking his laptop and like his router catching on fire every other week. He's doing Beyblade tournaments and getting upset when he stirs up drama and has to face the fucking backlash of it. Like, motherfucker, you did this to you. Calm down. But as far as CG goes as a movement, I don't particularly care to support CG whole. I care to back books I'm interested in, which means that, you know, if a Monster MD2 comes out and I like Monster MD1, I'll probably back it. If there are stellar reviews on a book and there's a second chance campaign, I'll probably back it. But just backing it because it's Comicsgate is a thing of the past. And it's sad, but true.
I mean, like I said a while ago, that's every single hashtag movement.
Well, I think we're getting towards the wrap up phase, so I do want to thank Larry for coming on, bringing this fantastic topic of DC going through a chipper. I think that Ricada Media just put a tweet out alluding to the fact that he's on American Ninja. I mean,
I'll believe that when I see it.
Well, he's either watching it on his Twitch stream or he's going to be on it. But either way, it is midnight standard time here.
It's time to go to sleep.
Yes, we still have about 2.5 minutes on the show, but you know, I'll forego those. Thank you very much, Larry, for bringing the topic and donating some change to the Church with Right Jar again. You know, the future is trades distributed through Scholastic and to bookstores and to the few remaining comic shops that still exist. And you know, voting with your wallet has never been more prescient. So, ladies and gentlemen, final thoughts.
Yeah. Vote with your wallet.
Ayrton. Get us the fuck out of here. Is he even still in the call?
It sounds like there's a space alien computer in the background of his microphone.
Okay. I'll do it for him. Get us out of here, Ayrton. You can do it.
Oh, sorry. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. Good
For
night.
fuck's sake, good night, everybody. Jesus. All right, we're done.